In the summer of 52 BCE, a decisive confrontation unfolded in the heart of Gaul that would forever alter the course of history. Julius Caesar, the ambitious Roman general, was poised to confront Vercingetorix, the fierce leader of the Gallic resistance. This clash would not only determine the fate of the Gallic tribes, but also solidify Caesar's legacy as one of history's most formidable military commanders. As the Roman legions prepared to lay siege, the stage was set for a dramatic showdown at Alesia, where the might of Rome would face the indomitable spirit of the Gauls. The backdrop of the battle was the fortified hilltop town of Alesia, a strategic stronghold situated on a ridge overlooking the surrounding plains. The town was home to Vercingetorix and his Gallic warriors, who had united various tribes against the Roman invaders. The natural landscape of Alesia, with its steep slopes and rocky outcrops, offered a defensive advantage that Vercingetorix aimed to exploit. For the Romans, the siege of Alesia represented an opportunity to crush the Gallic resistance once and for all. Caesar, driven by ambition and the desire for glory, meticulously planned his campaign. He understood that this battle could be the decisive encounter that would determine the outcome of the entire Gallic Wars. As Caesar approached Alesia, with an army of approximately 50,000 troops, he devised a plan to encircle the town and cut off any possible reinforcements for Vercingetorix. His forces began constructing a series of fortifications, including walls, ditches and watchtowers, to encircle the city. This monumental engineering effort would later be known as the circumvallation. Vercingetorix, aware of the Roman army's approach, understood the situation was dire. He gathered his warriors, urging them to prepare for a fierce defense. The Gallic leader sent out messengers to summon reinforcements from allied tribes across Gaul, hoping to amass a force large enough to break the Roman siege. His charisma and leadership inspired many to answer the call, and a coalition of Gallic tribes rallied to his side. As the siege progressed, the situation within Alesia grew increasingly desperate. Vercingetorix and his men were running low on food and resources. To conserve supplies, they resorted to rationing, but the tension within the walls mounted. The cries of the hungry echoed through the fortress, and morale began to wane. Vercingetorix knew he had to act quickly if he wanted to save his people. Meanwhile, Caesar continued to strengthen his position around Alesia. His men worked tirelessly, constructing defensive structures to prepare for the anticipated Gallic relief forces. The Roman general understood that the upcoming days would be crucial, and he was determined to maintain his siege at all costs. Just when it seemed that Vercingetorix was on the brink of defeat, hope arrived in the form of the Gallic relief forces. An army of approximately 100,000 warriors gathered to challenge Caesar's siege, intent on rescuing their leader and breaching the Roman encirclement. Under the command of various tribal leaders, they marched towards Alesia, ready to confront the Romans. The Gallic forces approached, their fierce war cries echoing across the plains. Vercingetorix, buoyed by the arrival of reinforcements, knew that this was his chance to strike. The plan was simple. The relief army would attack Caesar's siege lines from the outside, while Vercingetorix and his warriors would break free from Alesia. If successful, the Roman siege would collapse, and the Gallic resistance could reignite. Caesar, however, was not unprepared. Upon learning of the approaching Gallic reinforcements, he quickly adjusted his strategy. He divided his forces into two groups, one to continue the siege against Vercingetorix, and the other to confront the relief army head-on. This was a risky move, but Caesar was determined to maintain control over the situation. The tension in the air was palpable as the two sides prepared for battle. On one front, the Roman soldiers stood resolutely against the Gallic relief forces, while on the other, Caesar's legions closed in on the besieged warriors within Alesia. As the battle unfolded, both sides fought fiercely, determined to secure victory. The Romans, under Caesar's command, utilized their training and discipline to hold their ground. Vercingetorix's warriors, fueled by desperation and the need to protect their homeland, charged with relentless ferocity. The clash of swords and shields echoed through the battlefield, creating an atmosphere of chaos and intensity. Despite their bravery, the Gallic forces struggled to coordinate their attacks effectively. Caesar's strategic genius and his legions' training allowed them to repel the Gallic assault and maintain their siege. As the day wore on, the Romans began to gain the upper hand, pushing back the Gallic relief forces while simultaneously tightening their grip on Alesia. The culmination of the battle came as the Romans launched a counterattack, forcing the Gallic relief forces to retreat. Meanwhile, Vercingetorix's position within Alesia became increasingly precarious. Faced with dwindling supplies and no hope of outside assistance, he was left with no choice but to surrender. The surrender of Vercingetorix marked the end of large-scale Gallic resistance. Caesar's victory at Alesia solidified Roman control over Gaul and exemplified his military prowess. This decisive battle not only altered the landscape of Gallic resistance, but also showcased the Roman strategy and discipline that would become hallmarks of their empire. In the aftermath of the battle, the repercussions were felt throughout Gaul. The defeat at Alesia sent shockwaves through the tribes, many of which reconsidered their resistance against Roman rule. While some continued to fight, the unity that Vercingetorix had inspired began to wane, and the once powerful coalition of tribes struggled to maintain their strength. As the dust settled, Caesar returned to Rome with news of his triumph, solidifying his status as a national hero. The campaign in Gaul had not only expanded Roman territory, but had also provided Caesar with the wealth and military glory that would ultimately fuel his political ambitions. However, this victory came at a cost. The harsh realities of war were evident as the Romans faced the consequences of their actions. Many Gallic tribes were decimated, and the cultural landscape of Gaul began to change under Roman influence. The legacy of the battle would linger, shaping the future of the region for generations to come. The Battle of Alesia serves as a poignant reminder of the fierce struggles for control in ancient Europe. The bravery of Vercingetorix and the Gallic warriors stands as a testament to the human spirit's resilience against overwhelming odds, while Caesar's strategic genius showcases the military might of Rome that would come to dominate the ancient world. As we reflect on this pivotal moment in history, we gain insight into the complexities of power, identity, and resistance that continue to resonate today. In conclusion, the Battle of Alesia remains a significant chapter in the history of Rome and Gaul, illustrating the clash of cultures and the relentless pursuit of power that defined this era. The echoes of war would resonate through the ages, a testament to the struggles and triumphs of both the Romans and the Gallic tribes.